Hey guys! Last year, when Miriam and I were returning from the Shenandoah National Park, we had stopped at a small truck stop for some gas and a cup of coffee. We had parked a Spyder near the front door. We were sitting by the window and looking outside, and noticed a gentleman, a little bit older than us, just sort of walking around the Spyder and taking a look at it. So I went outside and I engaged him in conversation. He asked a lot of questions and seemed to be really impressed with the Spyder. So I suggested he consider buying one. And he looked at me and said, "I don't have $60,000 to just throw around." And I said, "My friend, for $60,000 you could buy 3 of these with money to spare." He seemed to be a bit shocked by that, thinking that the Spyder was some sort of ultra high-end luxury toy. Which it's not. It is a toy, but it's not that expensive. So I thought that would be a great topic for today's video to talk about what is the cost of the Can Am Spyder and what will cost to operate one. So that's today's video. So exactly how much does it cost to buy and operate a Can Am Spyder? Well, it depends. It depends on exactly what make, model, features, and options that you're looking for. So the cost of your Spyder will fall into 2 basic categories: the actual acquisition cost and the actual cost to maintain it year after year. So in the Spyder family, you actually have 5 different model options, plus the Riker, which is technically not a Spyder, but it's close enough that we'll call it a Spyder for today's conversation. You have the RS, a Sport Roadster, the ST, Sport Touring Roadster, the RT, which is the Touring Roadster, which is what we have, and the F3, and the Riker. Although technically not a Spyder, we went ahead and listed it in this lineup. So if you're considering buying a Spyder, what I would do is go to the BRP website and actually find the list of all the available options that they currently have. Then check out an online platform such as Cycle Trader and see what all the available options and features and configurations are. That way you can build a list of things that you would like to have and things that you simply can't live without. Some things you could upgrade later, some things you cannot. For example, if you get the 2-cylinder engine, you're not going to be able to upgrade that to the 3-cylinder engine down the road. The next big consideration when selecting your Spyder options is what engine and transmission combination do you want. For example, there are 2 engine sizes and there are 2 transmission options. For example, we have the Spyder RT SE6. That is the semi-automatic transmission, hence the E for electronic, and 6 means it's a 6-speed transmission. That's available in the 2014 and up because it has the bigger engine, the 1330 3-cylinder. If you have the 900cc engine, that would be the SE5. It only has a 5-speed transmission. Also, you have the option of a manual transmission. It'd be SM5 or SM6, depending on the actual engine. So you do have that, and those things aren't really changeable once you actually buy the Spyder. So decide which combination you want and put that on your list. So decide which way you want to go before you actually make that purchase. So once you build your list of the model that you want, the features you can and can't live without, and the things you would like to have, then you could actually start shopping. Now, if you're looking at a new Can Am Spyder that's fully equipped, you're probably looking at $32,000 plus. Now at the moment when this video was shot, according to Cycle Trader, I've been able to find several Can Am Spyders under the $7,000 mark, all with relatively low mileage, and RTs starting as low as $10,000. Even at $6,000, that's a considerable amount of money to place into a project. But my research has shown that the Can Am Spyders actually depreciate quite slowly. We've had our 2014 model for just under, well, next in a few months it'll be 2 years. And according to the online pricing, even after the mileage we put on it, I think we've lost less than 5% of its value over the last 2 years, which is pretty good. But how long will a Can Am Spyder actually last as far as mileage? Talking with some of the factory reps, I am told that you can reasonably expect, with proper maintenance, a Can Am Spyder to go up to 100,000 miles. Now, you can get more than that out of a car, typically 250,000 miles with proper maintenance, but a car engine doesn't have the same high RPM that the Can Am Spyder does. So that does cause a little bit of extra wear and tear and only gives you the useful life of about 100,000 miles. Now, in addition to the actual purchase price, you have to consider the actual incidentals that go along with making the purchase. If your state requires a sales tax, you'll have to pay that, your titling fees, licensing fees, that sort of thing. If you're buying it new, you could probably pick it up at your local dealership, probably won't be that far away. If you're buying used, as we did, you have to factor in the cost and the overall expense of the travel to get it. For us, it was a 2-day trip. Drove down there, closed the transaction out, spent the night, and drove the Spyder on back. It was a 400-mile trip down to South Carolina. So you have to decide how far out you want to search and how far back you're willing to actually drive the Spyder once you get it back. So that's part of your initial cost. And lastly, you have to factor in the cost of obtaining the motorcycle license for the Spyder if your state requires a special endorsement for motorcycles, or even the three-wheel motorcycle, which the Can Am Spyder requires in Virginia. So now that you've brought your Can Am Spyder home, you have to figure out what it's actually going to cost you to maintain it. There are two basic categories of costs. There are the administrative costs, which is sort of fixed. For us, it is the insurance, the monthly insurance we pay. Personal property tax. Our city has a small personal property tax for any personal vehicles. We have annual licensing fees we have to pay to keep the tags renewed. So what about maintenance? We found that our Spyder requires just a little bit of maintenance. We've done 2 oil changes in the Spyder, done those ourselves in-house, or actually I've done them. And the cost for that is actually the cost of the kit, which is about $100 ordered through Amazon. If you have your maintenance done by our dealership, I think it's probably going to run you about $350. It's a very labor-intensive process, not like your car where you simply can just drain it, change the filter, and refill it. You have to disassemble the body panel. So we have a video for that down below. The only other maintenance item we've actually had to do is I replaced the rear tire. That tire had about 10,000 miles on it, if my memory is correct. And according to my research, the rear tire on the Spyders lasts between 7,000 and 12,000 miles, depending on your use. And the cost for that was $350. Seems like everything for the Spyder cost $350. Now that does not include the cost of actually cleaning your Spyder. If you're like me, you'll spend a lot of time cleaning it, wiping off the bugs and the dirt whenever you can. Mine lives inside the house, inside of our garage, so it gets a lot of TLC whenever I can get to it. Now the other operational expense is the gasoline. The book says the Can Am Spyder RT should get 35 miles per gallon. But we've been seeing gas mileage about 41 miles per gallon, especially when I'm traveling by myself. With Miriam on board, we're about 38 miles per gallon. And the only downside to that is you have to use premium gasoline, which is a little bit more expensive than the regular grade. So we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up today's video. Appreciate you guys watching, and I hope that you found that the Can Am Spyder is probably a lot more affordable than you thought. And perhaps you might even think about getting one yourself. And on a final note, Miriam and I are in the advanced planning stages of our big spring trip. It's going to be, I think I'm going to nickname it the Asphalt Odyssey. It's going to be a big trip. Really looking forward to it. We should have the very first video dedicated for that trip and the planning stages of that, and kind of talk about where we're going to go in a couple of weeks. So, hope you'll look forward to that, and we will see you guys later. Take care. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Feel free to leave a comment below.